All right, let's go to work.
I think a skill set that I have that not a lot of other chefs have. Some from what I've seen, it may not be true, but a lot of people can't adapt to their clients. You know what I mean? Like, and what I mean by that is like, some chefs only can do a certain thing. You know what I mean? Me, I feel like I could personally just grab a recipe and recreate it. You know what I mean? And I think that is something that not everyone can do. And that is something that I offer. When people are like, so what do you cook? And I'm like telling them everything. I'm like literally I mean everything. Like, if you have something that you want from your culture or something, let me know. I got you. Like, those are the challenges. When I'm challenged to make something I've never done before, because I have the skill set, I know I could do it. I know I have the knowledge on how, the ingredients work together, the chemical reactions that happen. I pride myself on that. Just having the knowledge to recreate a dish that someone wants, or just, being trained enough to do it. And I think that's another thing I get a nice fix off of, like just being like, yo, you spent all these years in restaurants and you took something from it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like you just sat around and made money. Like, no, I literally absorbed everything I could and not necessarily recreated it from my own, like from my own inventory, but just, I just have it, So like now, like I said, I can make
You have a knowledge base.
I have a knowledge base.
Right, you understand the rules, techniques.
Right.
And it leads to my next question for both of you. How do you experiment? How do you, now, as a photographer, as a chef, how do you creatively experiment? Do you think about it? Is it an accident?
The risk.
Is it a calculated risk or an accidental risk?
It's a risk for me.
You want to go ahead?
Yeah, let me go for it, because it's going to be quick.
No, you got it.
It's the risk factor for me. Like, I don't know if it makes sense, but like just knowing that, like, all right, so pretty much you're asking what the next, like, well, how do I know what to do next? Like, how do I know?
No, or even like you say, I want to move against what I think is a cliche of surf and turf. I want to take a risk. I want to invent something that no one else has done. I want to do it different. How do you even approach that? You talked a little bit about it, like you're sitting on your sofa writing things.
Yeah, it starts with a lot of fucking
whiteboard.
weed, man. It starts with a lot.
You're smoking and thinking and having headspace.
I'm like, I want to say weed, but I'm like, I'm not trying to say marijuana a lot, even though it's legal.
I mean,
but
well, I'm gonna be selling it.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. My process.
I'm sitting. Listen, I didn't even smoke today. I'm sitting here with this photo that Wes gave me. I'm like, this is gonna be my doobie today while I'm in here, because I can't smoke. This is not Mike Tyson's hot box. So
yo, man, listen. I would say for me, my process is, it's interesting, man. I'm inspired by imperfection more than I am perfection. So I told you I have 2 cameras that are with me every day, everywhere I go. For one, I'll probably try more with this camera than this one. This digital camera more than this film camera.
And what kind of digital camera do you have?
This is a Ricoh GR2. This is my everything. I'm left-handed, so this is my left hand. This is, if you see me in the morning and I'm walking to go get coffee, this is probably gonna be on me. If you see me at night and I'm going to get a slice of pizza, this is probably what's on me. Like, throughout the whole day, I probably have my Leica around my neck, but my Ricoh is like, you'll never see me without this camera, without a doubt. But how do I try new things? I try new things by just not thinking about shit. At the end of the day, I pressurize a lot of this, like, in my head, but in act, it's just do it. I am a novice in the grand scheme of things. My photographs are nice right now. 5 years from now, I won't be a novice anymore. I'm trying things like making books. My first book I threw together on my computer. I want to actually physically make a book. I don't know anything about it. Not a clue about how to make a dummy book. Not a clue on how to publish a book the corporate way. But I just want to try things that have just been interesting. I have an MPC sitting in my room, a beat machine. haven't been able to play with it because I'm doing other things right now. But my whole thing is I know nothing about making beats. I know nothing about it to start. I just know that I want to do it. So I mean, starting with wanting to do something, I'll probably take some mushrooms to try, open up my inhibitions, or at least like allow me to be a little more fluid with the way that I go about my step-by-step processes. But I don't know, man. Just don't be afraid to get it wrong. I think getting it wrong gets me to what I want more often than getting it right does.
But it's almost, you're describing like almost emptying out all of your thoughts, emptying out your headspace completely.
Yep.
And then being open to whatever
Just
happens.
flow. Yeah.
But it's interesting though, even when you do that, sometimes you look at what you've done and it's still your unconscious. It's still some part of your conditioning, who you are comes out, and it kind of holds a mirror up to you, and you're like, I got to get past that.
Yeah. So
how do I get past that?
That's when I start doing things that I don't want to do. Like it's pretty cold outside, so I have to go outside. Like I have to make myself go outside these days. The whole concept of me being, in a rush all the time, not rushing is my uncomfort zone. Like standing still is my uncomfort zone.
So this is interesting. So you're saying that once you get, like they say, get out of your comfort zone. But for you, that's a creative act. And that's moving you past whatever your conditioning is.
Yeah. So I just recently did a studio shoot maybe a month ago. That was my first time in the studio in like a year, 2 years. And I'm always excited about the next time I'm in the studio because I don't go in with a plan. I don't go in with, all right, I'm gonna use this light here, this light there, this camera, these things. No, I'm just gonna talk to the person that I'm photographing for like 30 minutes and see where their headspace is. And once I figure out where their head is, I can make something of them because I know who you are now. And my job is to be a mirror of some sorts. Of course, like, you see like the borders of mirrors are always decorative. And I'm just the border showing you what you really are. Everything else that I do in photography is, bits of myself, but it's really about the person that's in front of the camera. So talking to people, like talking to strangers on the street, that's definitely my uncomfort zone, or at least it was for a long time. Fostering relationships out of nowhere in a matter of seconds, totally uncomfortable, man. But I want to be a better human, like a more realistic human. I feel like where I'm from, being human is like being a robot, man. You gotta play a part to some way, like, to some degree, rather than, just going around and speaking to people. Hey, how's your day? How you doing? I'm doing this. I'm a photographer. I've been doing this for X amount of years. Like, people don't even want that.
So that's the process. That's what we were talking about earlier. That's what we're after in the process. What you're after in the process.
The end result is always to be a little bit better, or to, leave that person a little bit better than they were before.
So being uncomfortable, being in a place of dissonance, discomfort, leads you to growth. As an artist, as a person.
Listen,
a lot of people associate that with ego, right? It's like, in other words, I'm in a place of discomfort, I'm punishing myself. I'm somehow like, I've got to develop some sort of thick skin or grit, or that's one way that people look at it, But this perspective is really interesting to me.
Right. I'm feeling the same
really
way.
Interesting.
You got to struggle to get somewhere, and the sooner it is to accept that, the easier it is to make it through the struggle.
It's like he spoke for me as well. Because like honestly, that everything you said is just, that is spot on. You know what I mean? And like, for me too, it's like the risk factor. Like knowing that, I have to take a risk to go to the next step is very, it's very powerful. It's very powerful. You could either be scared, you could be, all right, you could be confident, like there's all these emotions that's flowing through you when you know that the risk has to be taken. And I think I'm learning. I'm like, I'm holding on to knowing that the risk has to be taken, and it's paying out the right way. Everything is happening the way it needs to happen, the way I imagined it, the way I thought that it would happen. You know what I'm saying? So just me like taking the risk to move from New Jersey to California with $0, negative $0, like was the risk that I was willing to take, because for a while, you know, just being in Jersey it started to get to me. I got too content. I got too comfortable. You know what I mean? Like, just I got too comfortable, you know, and I didn't like that feeling. So I was like, you know, I gotta get out of here, bro. I gotta go. I need to, Brandon, you need to get up and go. You know what I mean? I started talking to myself in a way that was like, take the risk because you don't have anything else. You know what I mean? Like, you may as well just take the risk. You don't, you know, and then the pandemic hit and they were just like, and just to speak on that, the pandemic a little bit, I honestly that's probably the best thing that has happened to me in the last 10 years. The pandemic happening.
My favorite thing to say is there's going to be two types of people after this is all over. People that say this is the best thing that ever happened to them, and people that don't even know it really happened to them.
Right.
Taking chances with that, well, I mean, technically, since we're still in it, it's that time right now. The pandemic was like that first, say like, what is it, like Indy 500, that was the green light for all the cars, for all the doers, all the go-getters, all the dreamers to just take off and run and as hard as they can. Right.
What would you say, like, you know, describe why that
they gave us a lot of free money.
That part.
I mean, granted, I just finished up a contract for like a photo job that I had prior to the pandemic starting. But as soon as unemployment kicked up, I think it was like plus $600 a week.
Right.
If you had a dream, that was your
time. That was the time to go.
Like, to run after it, man, and like
that was the time.
Fail forward, really hard, really smart. Invest money here. Try spending this on that thing that you wanted to try that one time,
right?
And see what comes of it.
And you know.